all new Pinal's people. We're joining you from ArtMobile here in downtown Casa Grande, and our guest today is the talented Lisa Swanson. Lisa is the founder of ArtMobile and has been the artist behind a number of community art projects, including the Union Pacific Railroad underpass on Gila Bend Highway. Lisa, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for asking me to be on this show.
So to start off with, one of the things we ask all our guests is, can you share a little bit about your journey and maybe even the first time you knew you wanted to be an artist?
Yes, I'd be glad to share about that. The first time that I knew that I wanted to be an artist was when I was in third grade, and they showed us a video of a woman from Africa making a pot on a pottery wheel. And as soon as I saw her making the pot on the pottery wheel, I can see it right now in my head. I thought, that's what I want to do. So that was what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to be a potter, just from seeing that. But I couldn't actually start to learn to throw on a pottery wheel till I was in ninth grade, because the elementary schools and the middle schools didn't have ceramic classes.
Yeah.
So as soon as I got into the high school, that was like first thing I did. I was always hanging out and trying to learn, and I was like so excited to get to finally learn how to throw on a pottery wheel. And it took me 6 months before I kept my first pot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's challenging too. It's got it takes a little bit of upper body strength as well, right? Yeah.
Well, it just takes, it's hard to center. And when you see somebody making a pot on the pottery wheel, they already know how to do it, so it looks easy. But when you actually sit down to do it, you have to learn how to, you have to have strength, but you also just have to learn how to center the clay and keep it centered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's incredible. Can you share a little bit about the vision behind ArtMobile?
Okay, so the vision behind ArtMobile started when I was doing my capstone project with my master's program, and I just wanted to be, because I lived in a rural community, I wasn't able to work at a hospital where I could be an arts and medicine director. I really wanted to be able to reach people, because in rural communities that people are isolated and aren't able to have access to the arts. So that was pretty much the vision behind it. And then for my capstone project, when I had to write my I can't remember what they call it, that's bad, right? But anyway, when I had to write the paper to finish it, I actually had to pick a focus population. And so I picked older adults. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have any reason I picked them. I just picked them. But I'm so glad I did, because I really enjoyed working with them. And so I work with older adults all throughout Pinal County. And because there's a lot of older adults, they have different health challenges that are going on that cause them to be isolated. Even during COVID, everybody was isolated, but older adults are always isolated. So that's pretty much the focus for ArtMobile, is to be able to reach older adults or anybody that's isolated, and to combat social isolation and loneliness.
Wow, that's an incredible mission. And can you, because we were in here a little bit earlier and we got to see some of your class as they were working on some of their different projects. Can you speak to, because I think it's a fascinating mission, this idea of using art as a way to sort of heal or bridge the gap when it comes to social isolation. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to a little bit, what have been over the years, and of course, for a while you had ArtMobile, it was specifically mobile, right? You were
right.
going from place to place in the county, and now you have your own building, of course. Mm-hmm. So can you speak to, during your years of doing this, what have been some of the most fascinating moments that you've seen when it comes to people sort of having that space to sort of overcome loneliness? Because of course there's a huge loneliness epidemic
right.
Going on right now in America and maybe even across the world. So I would love if you could speak to that, and sort of, for you, what have been the most memorable moments that you've seen?
Well, I think when the most memorable moments is when I first started, one of them is when I first started the Arts and Meals program that I partner with Central Arizona Aging, that formerly was Pinal Council for Senior Citizens, when I was when I first started in 2015 with them, and they've been my partners ever since. But we started a program during COVID called Arts and Meals, and once COVID started to lift a little bit, the second phase of the program was to go to isolated communities and bring art project and a meal. And so the criteria is they couldn't have a senior center or any kind of older adult activities going on. So we went to Arizona City, and I always remember the first time that I went there. There was like 13 older adults, some were couples that came, and we held it at the fire station, Arizona City Fire Station. We were outside at first, but it was too hot, so the firemen brought all the tables in, and we were in their bay. And that was the first one of, we ended up doing it twice a month for a while, for 3 years. But I always remember that one because there was 13 people, nobody knew each other, because even though they're not so far from Casa Grande, but there was nothing for them to do to congregate, to actually get to know each other. And so now, after a year, I think we were up to 50 older adults that would come in. And you would never know, people, I would tell people, you wouldn't believe it, but they didn't know each other, right? Mm-hmm. And now they've become the best friends. And the outcome of it was that a lot of the not a lot of them, but we have 10 or 11 older adults that come every week to volunteer for ArtMobile. Because we make for the isolated seniors that can't come to any of our events that we have, we create art kits that we give to them through the fire station in Arizona City, Maricopa Police, different organizations. But anyway, back to what I was telling you. And so now the outcome of that is that they come every week, literally. In fact, they're going to be showing up here pretty soon from Arizona City. Not all of them. We have Casa Grande, other places, but there's at least 10 during the season. There could be up to 15, 20 that come. And they help they volunteer, strictly volunteer. So I give them volunteer opportunities to be able to come and to help, and it makes them feel, it's rewarding to them. But they are the best friends now, and they come, and that was an outcome. And then after they're done here, they go shopping all downtown, and they all go out to eat lunch afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But I couldn't do the things that I do if it wasn't for them, and then the Arizona City, once a month I go to Arizona City still, and they always help with the art kits too, because they don't really, when everyone gets older, they don't want a lot of belongings, right? And so the Arizona City group prefers to be able to help and donate what they make. So I just come up with projects they make the greeting cards that go in the kits and all kinds of things we create for those. They're an art kit along with all kinds of essential items for them, and that started during COVID.
Wow, that's wonderful. And so, I love how you're speaking about how rewarding it is for some of the volunteers and some of the members who come out and participate. I would love, Lisa, obviously you're a teacher. Like I said, you're the founder of ArtMobile. You've been doing this for years, and it was even something you studied. What's the most rewarding thing for you about this entire experience?
The most rewarding thing for me is when I can see how the art and the engaging in the creativity literally helps somebody with their health.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel so fortunate that I get to see that every day of my life.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter where I'm going. If I'm working with somebody, there's always a situation where there's some kind of health disparity going on, and so and I am an arts and health practitioner. So my goal is to go in there and teach them about art, but also to get them to engage in that creative flow. So that creative flow, and then the socialization with it. Creates the wellness and improves their overall quality of life.
Yeah, and
so that thrills me. It thrills me. And then I work with a lot of people with IDD, intellectual development disability. I partner with since 2018 the Opportunity Tree here in Casa Grande, and I go up to Phoenix, and it just thrills me to work with those people because they're so free in their creativity, And then also because working with the arts, a lot of them, they have trouble communicating. And so it becomes a form of communication, and I try to create projects that actually enhance the communication aspects of their health.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I was going to ask you too is, because I think especially nowadays more than ever, it's so easy to overlook how a process like that really does impact your health. And so, what do you wish more people knew about the creative process and the benefits it could have for their overall health and wellness?
Well, I wish that everybody would engage in the creative activities. And I wish that there was more knowledge out there about, there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of research being done, but that people would realize and understand how important it is to engage in the arts, in creativity. And it doesn't just have to be the arts. I mean, there's creativity is in all other aspects of people's life. When you're cooking, there's all different ways to be creative. But engaging in the creativity is really good for your health. It's just a fact, and it's been proven that it's a fact. Or just going and seeing a play, or singing in a choir. It's just, and so it has been proven that an older adult, if they engage in the arts once a month, that it actually puts years of life onto them. Mm-hmm. And so imagine if you engaged in it every day, right? But even just once a week or twice a week. But the fact is that engaging in creativity is good for your health. And so that's what I wish that people would know, that, and that there would be able to be more access to the areas that I go to. I go to places that people, I'll ask them if they've ever worked with clay, and not one person will raise their hand.
Yeah, that's incredible. So could you share, because obviously you did that fantastic art project on the underpass over on Pinal Highway. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you guys go see that, because it's a very fascinating project. It's beautiful. And it had this theme of the 3 C's, of course. But like I said, you've been an artist in this community for years, and as I understand it, you've done a lot of other community art projects as well. Can you share a little bit about those and what's motivated you to get involved in that way and to sort of share your art in a very public space?
Yeah, so for the underpass, actually the theme was the past, present, and future. There's 3 different mosaics, and the one that has the 2 mosaics, that's the past mosaic, and the future mosaic on the, I think it's heading west, yeah, that side. And then the other side, when you're coming into town, is the present one. And I was asked through the CG Mosaic team that through the city of Casa Grande to be the artist for that, which was very honoring that they asked me to do that. I think part of it was because they wanted a mosaic and they knew that I did ceramics, right? I had actually not, that was the first time I got to do mosaics, which I absolutely love. I discovered that. But yeah, so what was the question?
So community art projects, if you could share a little bit about them, and then what's motivated you to sort of participate in them.
Yeah, so that project was really thrilling just because that was like the largest project I figure I'm ever going to do in my life. It was like, I actually was like wondering, because I'm the type of person, if somebody asks me to do something, I always say yes, right? And I literally was like, it was such a huge project. I was like, there were some nights when I was up really late because we had deadlines and stuff, thinking to myself, don't ever say yes again. Because it was like, it was overwhelming to me, right?
Yeah.
But once I kind of, I worked my way through it, right? And it was really a great project, and I really enjoyed it. But it's wonderful because now, having done it, anytime anybody asks me to do a community project, I'm like, sure, I can do it, because there's never going to be, in my mind, a project that big.
Yeah.
And so I love that about it. Mm-hmm. And but I loved working with the community. I had the future one, I had kids come into ArtMobile and they used their hands. We used them as templates in the clay to make the feathers. So all the feathers that make the wings over the future city on that mosaic were made by children in our community. And then also I went to Valago Middle School, and made the hands with the students there. And then the past one, I actually made. That whole one was I sculpted myself. So I really enjoyed that one too, because I got to make reliefs out of all like the old buildings. I studied the history of Casa Grande, and I love the history of Casa Grande. And so that one was, I really enjoyed that one. And then the present one, we had forums that we had the community speak to what they wanted to see on the present one. And so we ended up, I made a list of them, and I tried to put every single thing on there. I just made a big collage. And I had the community also, all my volunteers, they made a lot of those pieces on there. I made a lot of them. And so it's all totally made by the community.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put it all together and everything. And I actually did design the whole thing, with the cactuses on the side. But the other projects, that I've done, like the one that I'm working on right now that I'm just about to get finished. I absolutely love this project. It's with the Rotary Club, Casa Grande Rotary Club. They invited me to do the Oktoberfest a few years ago, and I was researching what kind of German projects I could do with the community. And so I ended up, I saw a ceramic pretzel. And so I started making ceramic pretzels, and I have some in here all around.
Oh my God.
I have them everywhere. But we ended up making a pretzel mural. We started it last year, and it was fun. It's been funded through the Arts and Culture Commission through the city of Casa Grande. The Rotary Club has gotten a grant to have me create it, and I've been creating that with the community also. And it's on 3rd Street, right where the neon sign park is. And so we've been making ceramic pretzels, and they turn out, and I fire them. They look like real pretzels. And this year we're doing the whole back wall, and so I'm getting ready to put up with the people that Ellison Mills, 2 people that do tile work through him. We have I think there's over 300 pretzels to fill that wall. That I make them, and then all my volunteers paint them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And it's funny because I'm like, why do I like making these pretzels so much? I don't know why. I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then let's see what other community, and I do a lot of community work where people will invite me, not just in Casa Grande, but Maricopa invites me to a lot of their cultural events, outdoor events, and I set up, and I consider those community projects too, because I come up with specific projects for the actual event that I'm doing, and then I do it with families in the communities.
Mm-hmm.
So I do those kind of community. What other? I actually made a healing wall at the Oasis Pavilion, or it's not a healing wall. I'm sorry, a healing garden for the residents, because I used to do art classes at the Oasis Pavilion here in Casa Grande, and so with the residents and the staff, that was in 2015, I think, or 14. I created a healing wall, or healing garden that's outside their activities room, so the residents could go out there and just have a space. And we tiled 2 benches, and then they painted all the tiles, and I fired them. We put them on the benches, so I ended up to the benches, and we just did a whole bunch of different things in the garden for them.
Yeah. Lisa, circling back to our very last question.
Okay.
So many, many years from now, when when people think about your story and your legacy when it comes to the work you've done locally with community art projects, whether it be the mosaics on the CG underpass, whether it be your time here with ArtMobile and the things you've done, and just some of the beautiful stories you've shared today. When people reflect on you and your time here, what do you hope they take away from your story?
Well, I hope that if they're an artist, and if they enjoy caring for other people, like a caregiver. I think I have that in me to be a caregiver. And I hope that they take away that they actually are able to help people through art. Because I never knew that I could do that until that happened to me. And that it's there, it's inside of you. That's what I hope they take away. But I also hope that people that don't consider themselves an artist, but enjoy doing creative creative engagement, that they, or somebody that doesn't even do any kind of creative engagement, that even just going to the park or going to, a dance class or whatever, just that it's good for your health. I hope that's, in the future, that I know that there's a lot of research going on right now, and the arts and health field has really taken off since I graduated in 2015. There's so much going on all around the world right now. And so I hope in the future that everybody has a knowledge and understanding how engaging in creativity and the arts is just as important as exercising for your health, because it helps you to focus, it relieves stress levels, combining it with socialization, or combining it with socialization actually is the best combination. It's like a prescription, right? Because those two together create wellness, and I see it every time I get to go. Almost every day of my life, I get to see that.
Yeah, that's incredible. Lisa Swanson, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate being able to share with you.